there you are.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Got the Roll Tide, Alabama. You're a big fan, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's we got a huge game this weekend.
Oh, who are you playing?
Georgia.
Ooh, yeah, that's always a those are like the two top college football programs right now, aren't they? I mean, Texas is getting good too, but
Yeah, Texas is really good.
do you guys play
But
Texas this year? Because they're in the SEC now, right?
we do. We played. We had a home and home with them last year and the year before. They're not on our schedule this year. It might be. I guess in the SEC championship or something, or the playoffs. Maybe.
Yeah,
That their coach is really good.
that's
He came from
crazy.
us.
It's crazy you guys had Nick Saban. I mean, what a mass, and then he finally retired, which is like it seems like
Hmm.
you think he'll come back to college football at some point, or is he done?
I think he's done unless something really, really changes. He's still here. He has an office at the stadium now.
Hmm.
He's still hanging around,
Does
and
he do like
they renamed the. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, doesn't he do announcing or something? I know I saw him in a commercial.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. He's in a bunch of commercials, and he's doing College Game Day on ESPN.
Okay, yeah, because I just figure like guys at that level of success is so fascinating to me. Even if you're not a sports fan, hopefully we didn't lose anybody yet, but even if you're not a sports fan, just to be able to have that amount of success, you figure it's like it's in those guys is like it's in their bones. Like, and I don't think you can just turn it off. Like Tom Brady. I mean, he pushed himself. He couldn't play football anymore, but now it's like I feel like he's going to take that work ethic and apply it to the broadcasting or whatever or something because I don't think those guys can just sit around and like go fishing.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, he's it's probably driving him crazy, but he's still there.
Do you see that?
Saban Field.
Yeah. Do you see that when you're working on the films with some of these big stars? Like, I mean, your latest movie, the Gunner movie, it's got Morgan Freeman in it. It's got Luke Hemsworth. I mean, some of these guys are. I mean, Morgan Freeman. I would just imagine that guy must have like. I don't know if you got to. I don't know if you think you were in any scenes with him, but I don't know if you got to see him
Yeah,
work at all and his work ethic and see like how he approaches a movie.
yeah. I would. His last day on set, I wasn't scheduled to be there, and I went anyway. And I hate going to set when I'm not working, but just to meet him and talk with him and watch him work was amazing. And his work ethic, it's crazy. That as old as he is, he doesn't take naps. He I think he works like 12 hours a day. It's crazy.
Well, how does
I
that
was
even?
just
How do you work 12 hours a day as an actor? Because isn't a lot of like, okay, you're in this scene for 2 hours and then you go back to your trailer for 6 hours or something? Or how do you work?
yeah.
He's just doing the scenes for 12 hours or?
I don't. He has his other stuff going too. He has a team of people that kind of, I guess, I don't know what all they do for him, but it's all. I think that I'm pretty sure all his PR team and everybody is all women, and he just that and that's just what she and he told me that a little bit. He said, I don't take no naps, and but I think he has other stuff he works on too as well. Um, I just I just didn't take naps. They made that clear.
Yeah. Does it get grueling working on these TV shows and films with the schedule? Because isn't that a lot of it? It's really long day. It is like 12-hour days, right?
Hmm.
Like you start, I mean, I know there's like downtime where you're in your trailer or whatever, but I mean, you're in the workspace for 12, 14 hours a day, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like you said, they depending on what scene we're doing, it takes several hours. I had a fight scene with Tyrese Gibson in a movie called Rogue Hostage, and we were working on that for 9 hours, and they wound up cutting most of the fighting in the one particular scene, but we worked on that thing forever. It
Oh,
seemed like it was just he and I were and the stunt guy, his stunt guy. I didn't have a stunt guy, but we were working on that for quite a long time.
so do they like show you how to fall and stuff like that? Do you fall onto
Hmm.
like a mat or something like? Okay.
Yeah, it's they take pretty good care of me, even though I'm pretty old, and not really in the best shape, but they don't let me get hurt too much.
Yeah. Wait. So was that Bloodline Killer, or because that was you were in Tyrese? We're in that movie together, right?
We were. That was the one we did about 3 years ago, called Rogue Hostage, and he sets me on fire in it.
Oh. So you work with some of these people, like I know you're in a couple movies with Taryn Manning's in that one, and then you're in some other movie.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was so good in Orange Is the New Black, playing like a
Oh yeah,
meth head or
she's
whatever. Like,
mm, she is fantastic, and she's really funny. And a lot of people don't know that. I mean, she's a really good dancer. She has, I think, her background might be in dance and theater. She's just so cool. I love her to death.
it's crazy
And,
how, because like I think I saw her like an award show or something, and I was like, oh, like okay, she really is like acting. Like, because if you see her in Orange
mm-hmm,
Is the New Black, I think she's got like all jagged teeth and she looks like a
mm-hmm,
meth head, and then you see her like an award show and she's just beautiful, and you're like, oh, okay, they methed her up for the role or whatever, you know.
yeah,
Like, so that really is like acting because she's
mm-hmm,
totally. Whereas you see like some of these guys that they're kind of just playing themselves, you know. Like I mean, it's funny
yeah,
because everyone says so much about Robert De Niro, but I feel like so many of his roles, he's kind of the same guy. Like he's like the tough
mm-hmm,
New York guy. Like, and so I mean, he does it brilliantly, but
mm-hmm.
it's not like I mean, he doesn't have a lot of or as much range. I feel like as some of these other actors.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't had the chance to work with him yet, but I see what you're talking about, and I have worked with Al Pacino on one really good movie, and that was amazing because I got to watch him every day for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and didn't he like yell at you, and that's the reason you got sober?
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. It's American Trader, the trial of Axis Sally. It's a true story. Um, and it was at the end of World War II when this lady from this American lady was hired by the Gestapo to do all these propaganda radio shows, and when they caught her after the war was over, they put her on trial for treason, and I played the uh, jury foreman for the trial, and Al was the uh, defense her lead defense attorney.
Yeah, and so then like, but you were kind of like hungover or something, and then he told
Yeah,
you like to get your shit together, like when he was in
yeah.
character.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was in the middle of a long monologue, and he spotted me. I had started the DTS had set in, and we were in Puerto Rico, and I was in a wool suit, and it was extremely hot. But when I felt it, I started kind of panicking a little bit. I was like, "Oh no, not now, not now, please not!" And he was just, I mean, just masterful. Didn't even miss a beat. Walks over as he's doing his dialogue, and gets right over there to the jury railing where I'm sitting, slams his hands down on the railing and says, "Son, you need to get your shit together." And then went back into his dialogue and didn't even really miss a beat. And of course, it scared me to death.
Do you think is that the take they used, or they cut that part out, or what?
You can see it a little bit. I don't know. We did so many takes on his on the whole that whole scene. I can see, I can see it because I remember, but I don't know if it was the camera that got right up on me. I think they cut that part out. They kind of cut around it.
Yeah. Is it different when you because I mean when you watch a movie with Al Pacino, obviously he's amazing, but is it different seeing it like in real life and like being in the scene, or are you even more blown away at how good he is?
Yeah, yeah, it's like a dream. I mean, it doesn't even seem real. He's just so good. I
Wow.
learned so much from him.
What did you learn?
Just how to kind of take control of the scene, and how to like I don't know. It's just it's hard to explain. He's one of the only. There's only been two short men to ever intimidate me in life, and he was one of them.
Who was the other one?
Nick Saban.
Oh, did you actually meet him or?
Oh yeah, I went to a party at his house after one of our spring game, And I had it in my head that he knew who I was, because it was right when things started happening for me, and my business was successful. I started doing TV shows, and I'd set up a scholarship with the athletic department, and I just had it in my head that he knew who I was for some reason. And my wife at the time and I walked in, and he comes right over to me, shakes my hand, said, "John, thank you for being here." You know, the whole exchange lasted maybe 5 seconds. And as he's walking off, I leaned over to my wife and I said, "Nick, freaking Saban knows who I am." She goes, "You dumbass, you got a name tag on."
Oh, that's funny.
I was crushed. I thought I was something, that chest bowed out, I thought I'd made it.
No, that's still
But
cool that you got to meet him though. I mean, if you're that big, because I know how big of a fan you are. I heard you say that you won't even take roles during football season because you're like, nope, I'm not missing a Bama game.
or unless we're shooting like on a Monday or a Tuesday, no, I usually stay away from those.
Do they
Uh,
typically shoot on a Saturday? Because that's when the
not
games.
you. Yeah, not usually, but sometimes I when I did a movie called uh, The Fearway, they had a delay in production, and I had it scheduled to where I was going to wrap and then fly from California to Atlanta for the SEC championship game, and it was versus Georgia. And they had some kind of permit or something to get done, and we were delayed a day, so I had to stay and film a movie during the SEC championship game, and that was a little nerve wracking. It was was watching it on my phone when I in between scenes.
Was that
So I
last
was.
year's? No.
It was 3 years ago, I
Oh,
think.
okay. Yeah. They probably won. I think they probably won that one. I know they didn't win last year, so then they didn't get in the playoff or whatever. But then
Right.
was it like was it Florida State or something that got in, and then they just got killed because our quarterback was hurt? And yeah.
Yeah. Well, Florida. We got into the playoff. Florida State did,
Oh, that's
and
what
it
it
was.
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, because Florida State, like, everyone's like, they should have got in. They were undefeated, but then like they just got destroyed in the bowl game because their QB was hurt. So it was kind of like
Yeah.
maybe made the right decision.
Yeah. Definitely made the right decision.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So like, yeah, tell the story. Like, explain how you got into acting because you didn't start acting until age 40, which is crazy. And
Right.
it's because you got this like walk on role on True Blood.
Yeah, I was selling chicken out on the West Coast, and there was a fundraiser for LA Children's Hospital. And Alan Ball, the creator of the show, this True Blood, the showrunner, he donated a featured walk-on role for this auction. And I thought, hey, I'm a fan of the show. I'll bid on it, see if I get it. Well, I got it, and went out and did the show. Had an amazing time. And I mean, I was on set talking with all the main stars of the show, and I sent a case of this wine that from Alabama to the producers, and I said I had a great time. Thank you so much. I had a blast. Everybody was awesome, and they invited me back for another scene the following year, and that scene got cut, and then they invited me back. They made me a werewolf, and for the season 6, I think it was. And right when I did that episode, they did away with the werewolf storyline for the final season. So I was a unemployed werewolf.
Okay, so you won this role from the auction or whatever. So then you had this role, so you got in, but then how did you parlay that into, because now I think you have like 40 or 50 credits on IMDb. Like, how did you get the next one after True Blood?
After that one, the CW show, The Originals, they were looking for werewolf type like extras, and I applied for that and got that, and then I met the creator of that show, Julie Fleck, and I did some charity stuff for her for this program that they were really supporting, and she put me in the originals for an episode, and then she let me go over to the Vampire Diaries. That's how I got that, and then I did a couple of small independent stuff, and I just kind of started building on that. And I was pretty much taking anything that I got, like that I applied for, that they offered me, and there's no money in that, and I just needed the experience because I didn't study the acting in school.
So how do you
Um,
find these roles? Did you hire an agent or do you just go on like, is there a website where they list it all or?
Well, I hired I have a guy that's a producer that's a really good friend of mine, and he's helped me, guide me, because I didn't know anything about the business at all, and he does, and he's kind of helped me, and I trust him. And a lot of these roles, or most of these roles, came from my connection to him. I mean,
Oh,
he could give me an audition, or if he sees something that he thinks that I would be good for, he'll send it to me and say, take a look at that, read this, and see if you want to, I know these people, I could get you an audition.
and are a
So,
lot of the roles, where are they? Because you're in Alabama, I'm assuming
mhm.
there's not a lot of shooting in Alabama, or is there? Or do you fly into California for it?
I fly pretty much anywhere.
Oh,
I did a move. The guy that directed the Gunner, and Gunner
yeah.
was filmed in Alabama, by the way,
Okay.
about 30 minutes from here. We did a movie called Jiu Jitsu with Nicolas Cage in Cyprus, in the country of Cyprus in the Middle East. And I spent the whole summer 5 years ago over there working on that.
Wait, you worked with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
Holy,
Well, I'm not in any scenes with him, but he was there, and I don't really know him, but um, he was only there like 2 days, I think.
man, that guy's got some really hardcore fans. I'm a fan of his. I mean, I like him, but I know some people that like, I mean, they love Nicolas Cage.
Hmm.
They will watch any movie he is in, and he does a lot of movies. So
A
it's a lot of
lot,
work.
way more than I do.
Yeah. I mean, he's just such a character. He's a guy that just doesn't seem to give a crap about, like, he's just gonna do what he's gonna do, and if you don't
Hmm.
like it, he doesn't care. And it's just such an interesting guy. I know it's interesting because I was listening to Pauly Shore was on Joe Rogan, and Pauly
Yeah.
Shore was saying, hey, you should have my buddy, my neighbor Nick Cage on the show. And Joe was like, yeah, sure. And then it never happened, but I kept waiting. I was like, oh my god, this would be the best episode of Rogan ever, to get
Yes, it would.
inside the
That
mind of Nicolas Cage, right? Because I don't see him do a
Wow.
lot of interviews.
No, I don't either. I don't see him doing any really.
No. Yeah. I just think that
He's
would be so fascinating to hear his process, and just
yeah.
he's just such an interesting character. I don't know, maybe he doesn't do interviews for a reason. Maybe he says crazy shit. I don't know, but I find him interesting. He's a fascinating guy either way.
Yeah, he is. He's very fascinating.
So
Um,
you didn't really interact with him though on that one.
no, all of my scenes were on a different part of the movie, but and he was there. So he wasn't there very long at all.
Mm.
Um, but it was Frank Grillo was in that. I've done several with him, and a lot of the martial arts famous people were in it. That Tony Ya, uh, Juju. I can't remember her name. They were amazing.
Hmm. That's awesome. And then you did those with those movies that I think are kind of underrated, the Becky movies. Like the first one's just called Becky, and then the
Hmm.
sequel is called The Wrath of Becky. The first one had Kevin James from King of Queens, which was so weird because he's like a bad guy, and you're like, wow, this guy's like a badass. And the second one, I think the bad guy is Sean William Scott, who most people
Hmm.
know as Stifler. So did you get I can't remember because it's been a while since I've seen those ones, but did you have scenes with those big stars in those movies?
Yeah, well, I didn't with Stifler, but and then Kevin comes in at a different part. I'm in the first Becky. I'm at the beginning and at the end of the movie. But I met initially I didn't want to do the movie because I'd heard some things about Kevin that it was all bullcrap. But I met him, and he's like the nicest guy in the world.
Really? What
And
did you hear? Because that's it. I saw him. He did Joe Rogan, and he seemed very chill. Like, because
yeah,
he's a comedian originally, right?
yeah, he's a comedian. It just I don't know, just different tabloids and stuff that
Mm.
he's none of it's true. I had just had like a preconceived notion that, that, and I shouldn't have. I regret that. He, he's just a real nice guy.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, because I'm a big fan of King of Queens. Like that's kind of my guilty
Yeah,
pleasure for whatever. There's something about that show. It's kind of like a comfort show to me. It's just like it's really goofy and silly, but I just really like it. His character on that is just it's so great. It's like it's kind of underrated, I think.
very.
Yeah.
I like all of his movies. He's fun. He's hilarious.
Yeah, and now
But
he's friends with like Adam Sandler, and so they
mhm.
do movies together and stuff. It seems like it'd be fun to get into that like realm, you know?
Yeah, I would love to be friends with Adam Sandler.
Right? I mean, because then he puts you in like all of his movies, and it just
Hmm.
looks like so much fun working with him in those movies. And now I think they're doing Happy Gilmore too, and
Yeah,
oh, that'd be a blast.
Travis Kelce's going to be in that too, I heard.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Right. Yeah, he's not doing that great this year on the Chiefs, so he's kind of been quiet.
Hey, yeah, he really hasn't. He'll probably get it tuned up. He'll probably get it going.
Yeah. What is the most fun role that you ever had? Like, what was the most fun you had working on a movie?
Probably the most fun. Probably Becky.
Oh, really?
Both the Becky movies. I had a good time. Lulu Wilson is fantastic. She's amazing. She's really funny, and working with and the one of the main killers in the Wrath of Becky. I'd worked with him on Michael uh, Siro. I worked with him a lot, so he's funny. It just had a good time.
And were you a sheriff in that one too?
No, well, I don't know. There's talks of a third one, and they're kind of trying to. Lulu and I were the only two that were in both.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know what they're going to do with my character. I really didn't understand that my character's and that's why he was in that diner, and she, imagine cutting his throat. The only bad part about that was I had knee surgery like 5 days before that, so I didn't have to do anything, but I was still in a lot of pain and having to do the special effects and all.
Yeah.
Um, but it was fun getting to hang out with her again.
Do you get to keep any of the like props, like the gore makeup and stuff like that, or any other sort of props from the film? Do you ever just snag some?
Um, Not really. I've gone back to the hotel with a knife wound in my neck, and I forgot to get them to take it off, and that was kind of crazy. But
That is funny. Yeah, that because that's like one of the fun things I would think about working on some of those is just all the special. I love like special effects, and so I had one of the special effects guys on my show. He helped. One of the movies he worked on was the Pulp Fiction, where they blew his brains out.
oh
They
yeah,
worked on that part. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like I'd love to have like Tom Savini on. Like he's done a lot of the special effects. It just sucks they don't do as many of those now. It's a lot of CGI stuff.
yeah. And I didn't realize it until I started doing this work that I have a claustrophobia of and I had no idea until they started putting the stuff on, and I was like, ooh, I don't like this. And in Rogue Hostage, when I get set on fire, they told me that I was going to have to do that, and I said, well, how long is it going to take to put on? They said, oh, it's going to be an hour, and it took 4.5 hours to
Holy
get all
cow.
the. I was burned from the waist up.
Yeah, I mean, because I know that they said like Eddie Murphy when he did the Nutty Professor, he was like they said he was really patient and really good about putting on because they had to, all that fat makeup. And then they said Jim Carrey, it was like really hard for him to do the Grinch to put on all that makeup. They had to hire
Uh,
like a Navy SEAL to help like coach him through how you like mentally tolerate
hmm
this like terrible like uncomfortable. I don't know if it's necessarily pain, but it's just like you're uncomfortable for like several
Yeah,
hours, like, a long time.
yeah, it's pretty bad. And that what I did was nothing like the Grinch deal. I can't imagine. I probably couldn't do it. It all depends. I don't know. I'd try it.
Yeah, if it was with
Uh,
like a big star. If it was like De Niro's, like, hey, we need you, you're like, oh, I think I'll tough it out for.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Or is there anyone else that you haven't worked with yet that you'd like to?
I would like to work with Denzel. I think he's amazing, and I hear he's he's a very nice guy. Um, I'd like to work with him. I do want to work with Nikki Glaser one day. She's a comedian.
Yeah, yeah, she's really
uh,
funny.
I'm getting to go to one of her shows in November. I think I'm excited about that. I've had tickets to 3 shows, and it's always I've had to a movie things come up or something's always come up, and so I'm hoping this time I'll get to see it.
Yeah, Denzel would be cool. I love his I'm a fan of his acting, but I also really love, I don't know if you've ever heard him like speak and do like motivational speeches and
Oh yeah,
tell his story of how he was like a broke college dropout or whatever, and then it's like some lady said that he's going to be this famous actor, and he's like he didn't believe it, and then like I don't know, it's just when he gives those speeches, I mean I don't know how much truth it is or if he's exaggerating, but it's definitely really inspiring.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, he would motivate me a lot. But,
Yeah.
and that's the thing when I work with these actors like that, it really helps me my performance because I'm I've worked so hard to to get to that level, and I'm just better at my work when I when I'm working with somebody like that.
Yeah,
It's very intimidating, but it helps me a lot.
for sure. How do you prepare for your roles? Like, I mean, with the latest movie Gunner and you're a sheriff, like do you follow a sheriff around or do you meet with a real sheriff at all or do you just kind of base it on what you've seen?
Well, I I know a lot of the cops and stuff here, and the sheriff. Well, Ted Sexton, he's not the sheriff anymore, but I was friends with him a lot, and I kind of had something to pull from, and I get to be the nice guy, the good guy, in this one, and so that doing the right thing was not as much of a stretch for me because I'm like one of the nicest guys. That's it's just I didn't have to be all evil and like a killer or anything like that. So it was a little easier than a lot of these roles because I'm usually cast as the bad guy in a lot of these things.
Okay. Yeah, like you have some movies coming up. Tell me about the Montauk movie with because that's Molly Ringwald and Charlie Tahan, I think. Is that about
Yeah,
the Montauk Project? Because I'm really fascinated by that whole story.
it's about the vacation town in on Long Island. Where that's where we shot it,
Okay.
and supposedly this little island is kind of secluded there, and it's supposedly this rich old lady has treasure, and these college kids are not the local. They're like in their 20s or late teens. They go to try to find out what's good. We shot that like 5 or 6 years ago, and
Oh.
it hasn't come out yet. But working with Molly Ringwald was it was funny because the director when they brought me in, I played a cop in that one too, and he said, "Okay, you're meeting her for the first time, and you're infatuated, and you're just like really smitten." I said, "So I don't have to act." Because I love Molly Ringwald. She's
Oh yeah.
amazing,
She's great.
and she's really cool. I had met her on one of my first movies. She worked on. We weren't in a scene together, but she was at the it debuted at Tribeca, and she was at the after party. I got to chat with her a little bit, but I wish that movie would come out. It's I get killed. Uh,
Oh.
Spoiler alert there.
Yeah. So there's that one, and then there's the movie Fog of War. You're in that one, right? With John Cusack and Mira Sorvino. Those are two huge stars.
Yeah, I didn't get to my scene. I'm barely in it. I've got one like two little bitty scenes. Uh, that movie is going to be. I think it should be pretty good because it's a World War II drama, and which I kind of like those, personally. And I was hoping it would be done before my dad passed away. It's passed away in March. That was one I wanted him to see, because
Oh,
that's what get that a lot of that. He's
yeah. Sorry to hear that. Yeah,
uh,
I love World War II movies. It's such a fascinating
mm,
era for sure. Yeah.
yeah. The American Trader is uh, it's World War II. That was the only other. I think that's the only other World War II movie I did.
Yeah, I realized when I was looking at your credits too, I saw another movie that you've done that I've seen actually was The Vault with James Franco. That was kind of a cool movie. It was about these like ghosts in a bank and stuff. And Taryn Manning's in
Yeah,
that one too. Yeah.
yeah. That's where I first met her. Yeah, that I get my brains blowed out by in that movie too. That was kind of the guy that had the mask on. I never saw his face the whole time I was there. He never took it off, and he was just very scary.
Yeah.
That they shot it in a old jail over in Atlanta, an abandoned jail,
Ah.
and the power went out one night we were in there, and that was kind of scary.
Yeah, that is scary. Is there have you had those kinds of experiences in some of these shooting locations where it's like in creepy buildings like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's nothing really, you know, nothing that really freaked me out, but it's we've I've shot in some really cool old places. So the I shot a scene in The Informant over in London. The movie's based in America, but we shot that over the indoor stuff. We shot over in this old Masonic lodge in London, and it was me and the rapper Common. Um, we sat for hours, and in between talking and all. He's super guy. Love him.
Wow, that's cool to hear. I love to hear that like when these stars are like super down to earth and nice, like Kevin James and Common, like all these guys are nice guys because it just makes you want to, support them more and be a fan.
Yeah, I haven't really had any bad experiences, so to speak. But I worked with Tommy Lee. The only movie I've done this year was with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's quite the character. He was no nonsense. I mean, boom, he moves so fast, and I had to do a little bit of a stunt in that, and he was kind of getting a little impatient with me, but I didn't take it personal. I told him when we wrapped, I said, "Thank you for your guidance, and it means a lot."
Yeah,
Shook his hand.
he's an amazing actor. Have you ever seen that
Is
meme of him where it's like a picture of Tommy Lee Jones and it says like Tommy Lee Jones looked like you just told him your pronouns or something. He's just making this face. Really
no,
funny.
I haven't seen that. That's
Oh
fun.
yeah.
That sounds fun.
That's a great one. Cool. Well, Gunner is out now. I just bought it on Prime, and I'm almost done with it. I'm like three-quarters of the way done.
It's long.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Those Becky movies are great that I've seen that you do. The Vault, that was a good one, and then you have these other ones coming out, so that's exciting. Anything else to promote?
Um, I on the behind the camera, I produce a documentary that it's making the film festival circuit right now. It'll probably go to streaming here pretty probably I would think this fall. I hope.
Oh yeah, I want to see the
It
Jailhouse to Millhouse or whatever.
Yeah, it Pamela Hayden is so amazing. She just the more I got to know her, and she's so good. She's been so good to me, and she was one of my only Hollywood friends that when I went to rehab for the alcohol addiction that Pacino sent me to. She called me, checked on me, sent me cards, sent me packages like
Wow.
every week. I was there for 3 months, and she was, other than my family, she was the only one that really encouraged me, and I probably wouldn't have gotten through it if it wasn't for her.
And she's the voice of Millhouse on The
Hmm.
Simpsons, and that's kind of her claim. Like that's the biggest role that but she was so it's called the movie's called Jailhouse to Millhouse. So was she originally in jail?
Oh, she was in a this really bad. She thought it was going to be a boarding school, and it was a bad situation. There was a lot of drugs involved, and she wound up in I would call it a jail. It was a bad situation, but
Okay.
she took me to a Simpsons table read a few years ago, and
Wow.
I thought I was gonna, I was like, oh, I'm professional, and the creator, they gave me a script, and he drew this little thing of Bart and Millhouse on it, and I was like, I turned into once everybody started reading the script, I was like a little 10-year-old. It took me back to my childhood. It was so awesome.
That's amazing. I love The Simpsons. Wow, that's cool. I can't wait to see that movie. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll make you tear up a little bit. She has an amazing story.
Okay.
I
I
can't wait
love
for
that kind of
everybody to
stuff.
hear it.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on the podcast to promote it if she's doing press.
Yeah, I think she is. I'll call her. I'll send her this too. I'll try to send her these ones that I mentioned. The movie and things like that. But
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, John. And
thank you for having
like
me.
I said, Gunner's out now, and all right. Well, good luck to your team this Saturday. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.